Our next speaker is Daniel Moore of Universal Robot, who will teach us how to automate almost anything. Daniel is a technical service engineer focused on technical instruction, pre-sales support, application troubleshooting, with a focus on robotic laser welding and cutting. So let's welcome Daniel to the stage.
Thank you. So we've had a lot of nice conversations about more electronic, more digital things. I'm going to bring things into the realm of the physical. Here's a pretty easy one. I'm going to teach you all a new word. What word is that? It's actually applause in American Sign Language. Or maybe it's English Sign Language, I forget. But it's a way of saying, I don't want to interrupt somebody, but I can still say, you're great, yeah. Well, we're using something they don't normally use to communicate with. People use their hands, but now I'm literally using my hands. And by using that physicality, we can reach different people. We can do different things. So I'm going to talk about universal robots and how collaborative robots will change the world. Now, robots, technology of the past? Like, maybe you've never been inside a manufacturing plant, but most robots that you see are going to be like this. They're going to be inside these big cages, because you're talking about a 3,000-pound piece of steel moving 9 feet per second. By the time it realizes it hit you, you're already dead. I mean, that sounds funny, but it's actually true. So you put a robot, and then you get a cage, and then you get a gate, and a double safety interlocked door, so that if anyone opens it, the robot stops dead. But what if things could be a little bit different? Here we have a look at one of the plants using our robots. Lots of traditional robots.
It was strange. Such robots are usually separated from us. And one day, it was right next to me, my new coworker. I've never had a coworker quite like this before. In the past, I did that by hand. I needed incredible precision and always the exact same pressure to get it all perfect. It's amazing that we work with such robots, even on an assembly line, side by side and hand in hand.
So there you have a company that had lots of know-how, lots of technical capacity, but they still wanted collaborative robots because it meant they could put robots in places where robots had never been. So what does collaborative robots really mean? Well, collaborative robot is technically a safety spec, right? So you can have a robot next to a person, and it's fine with OSHA standards and RIA standards and all that kind of stuff. But for us, it's also about easy use. We don't want programmers programming these robots. I mean, they can, they do. But we want to take operators, the people that have never done programming, the people that have never done any kind of programming language, and we want them to be teaching that robot. Because who's going to know a cell better than the woman who's been feeding it parts for 9 months? Oh, you got to wiggle this just like that to pop it out. Great. Teach the robot that exact motion so it can do the thing that a normal robot couldn't. We're also about making things cheap. Like, a lot of hardware takes between 2 and 10 years to pay back. And if you're a small company, you're working in the backyard of your house in a little machine shop, you don't have 2 years. So we try to have a payback in 6 months. So is it just another tool for tech gurus? No. Like, we're all about making this a thing that anyone can use. When I say putting it in places that robots have never been, I don't just mean in a big companies. I mean in tiny companies, in 5-person companies, in 10-person companies. One of my best installations was 2.5 hours outside of St. Louis, 10 miles down an unpaved road to a little company that you never would have seen because they were literally hidden behind someone's house. And they made the metal components for knee braces and foot braces for people with club foot. Adding a robot, suddenly they're able to make twice as many of these braces and help twice as many children. They didn't have the space for a robot, and they didn't have the technical know-how. And when I say everyone, I mean seriously everyone. We estimate that there are anywhere between 1 million small and medium enterprises that could benefit from a robot. Like 99.7% of businesses in the USA are considered small businesses. And a pretty good percentage of those are like one dude working out of their garage. We want that one dude or one woman to be able to get a robot. Right? This is doing things that have never been done before. And they can be used in all kinds of things, like automotive assembly. Hey, we're near Detroit. We've got lots of these robots right here making auto parts, but they work in pharmaceuticals. They work in machine tending, in electronic testing, right? Taking out hard drives, putting them in a tester, taking them out of the tester, putting them back in a receptacle. But also slightly more esoteric stuff, like we've got a company making custom flip-flops where they scan your feet and the robot mills out the pattern of your foot into a flip-flop. Or doing painting, or welding, or dispensing, or actually one of the weirdest ones we've seen is brain surgery. Now the robot's not actually doing the surgery, but it's holding a camera and wiggling it above a patient's open skull cavity, building a 3D model that the surgeon can operate on. So the surgeon has a better sense of where their scalpel is as they're making the incision. We'd never planned on that, but someone said, hey, your robot is safe enough and reliable enough that we can do this thing, and we can use it next to humans, so let's do it. In many ways, we want it to be a tool in a toolbox. Oh man, I gotta add like 10,000 screws to all these parts I wanna ship out because I forgot one in production. Rather than having one dude or one woman do 10,000 parts, teach one and have the robot do the next 9,999. And that human can go do something useful, like prepping the next project, prepping the next part, getting the next sale, and not grinding themselves to dust, doing 10,000 wrist-destroying repetitive motions. Doesn't sound that bad when you think of it that way. So one more video about what this really does for the workers on the floor.
When the robots first came out on the floor, employees were very anxious and a little nervous about it. But now that they're out there on the floor, they act like they can't live without them. They are constantly asking, can we put a robot in this position? Could we maybe put a robot in this position? You know, there's a lot of people who are trying to figure out where we can put our next robot to help our process. We have Thelma and Louise, who were, at first everyone was scared of Thelma and Louise, but she's actually a part of the family on the floor now. That's how they got their name. We were expecting it to go off the cliff, and she saved us, both of them, actually.
Cool.
And that's the word from the street. Thank you very much.
Wow, a tough question. Okay, local Lano. Can you respond to Stephen Hawking's warning about the potential of AI?
I think the answer to this is more of a broader tech question, and I know my presentation was a little short, so I'll expound a little bit. Technology will not save us, period. Technology enables us. If we want to use technology to more efficiently oppress people, that's what technology will do. We have to change the human character and then use technology to say, hey, I want to help people. Oh, cool, now let's use technology to help people. Great. But unless you fix the human side of the equation, the tech doesn't matter. And so I think you can apply this to AI. If you are someone saying, hey, we're doing research on AI, we're actually trying to build a friendly AI, great. That AI will learn from its developers. If you have someone saying, I'm going to use an artificial intelligence to be the most efficient killing machine on the planet, well, you get what what you're creating. You get back what you put in. So, am I worried about some random AI in a research lab pulling a Skynet and taking over the world? No, not really. But it's important to remember that in those movies, Skynet was a defense artificial intelligence. Or if you're a little older, you might remember Colossus from the 70s, a defense artificial intelligence. If you tell your robot to be as efficient as possible at killing, it'll get good at it. If you tell your robot to be as efficient as possible at helping, who knows what it might do. Robots and AI are going to change the world. We have to think about what the human pressures are for the direction of that change.
Thank you.